Good morning and good evening. Welcome back to Math Agility Live. This is our new platform where students can send in their math homework problems or social media channels, and we will answer them via Facebook Live every Tuesday and Thursday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. PST, or Wednesday and Friday 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Manila Time. Our topic for tonight will be in two parts. So the first part will be about complementary and supplementary angles in geometry. And the second part is about logic and propositional calculus in discrete mathematics. So we will be doing the tutorials again in Taglish. Let me just share you my screen. Just give me 1 second. Actually, this question is from sent in by our twin from the Philippines, and I think he's taking geometry classes. Let me just again just give try to share my screen. Okay, so this is actually what he sent me. So if you can see my screen on your my virtual whiteboard on your screen, I mean. Okay, the first part is actually about uh just like fill in the blanks, right? So let's read them together. Let me just make it bigger. So the first question is number one, the sum of measures of two complementary angles is, of course, number one is 90 degrees, right? So complementary angles, when we add them together, the sum would be 90 degrees. And then for question number two, supplementary angles are two angles whose measure add up to. So supplementary angles, when we add them together, are is 180 degrees. So supplementary angles add up to 180 degrees, 180. And then the third question is two angles are if they have the same measure. So if they have the same measure, then they should be congruent, right? And then for number four, adjacent angles are two blank angles that have common side between. So I think two adjacent angles. So two adjacent angles, they have common side and common vertex, right? So for example, you have this. So this is A, B, C, and D. So ABC is congruent angle to adjacent angle to BDC, right? BDC, angle BDC. And then what's the other question? So for number five, if the angles are adjacent and supplementary, then they are called, so adjacent and supplementary, they are called linear pair, right? So this is an example of a linear pair. So number five, linear pair, right? So meaning there are one, they are adjacent, and two, they are supplementary. So meaning pag inad natin sila, yung angles, so this angle here and this angle here, when we add them up, ang sum would be 180 degrees, right? And then let's answer letter B. Find the measure of angle B. So since this is a linear pair and this is a supplementary for number 1, so as you can see, this given 50 degrees here. So, and they were asking for this angle here. So this is equal to 130 degrees, right? If they are supplementary. And then for number 2, uh, so this is 90 degrees. If you can, yung kung nakikita niyo yung symbol na to, this means this is 90. So if this is 63, so this would be 27, right? So let B is 27 degrees. This is 130 degrees. Because 90 minus 63 degrees is 27 degrees. So that's the answer for number 2, right? Okay, so let's move to the next problem. Okay, so let's go up a little bit here. Lakihan lang natin ng konti. Okay. Okay, so the question for number okay, it's actually too small. Okay, let me see the original one. I can't read it. Okay, so this is the question. Number 1 question is, if angle 1 and angle 2 are vertical angles, if angle 1 is 75 degrees, what is the measure of angle 2? So if they are vertical angles, then they have the same measure, right, of angle. So this is exact from the given problem. It says this is 75, angle 1 is 75 degrees. And what is angle 2? So this should be equal to 75 degrees as well, right? So letter D is the answer. So this is for number 1. And then for number 2, find the measure of the angle made by the hands of a clock at 3 o'clock. So yung analog nating mga clock, so it would look like this. So the hour hand and the minute hand, right? So kung ito yung 12, this is 3. So we can see in a circle there merong 360 degrees and this occupies 1/4 of it. So this should be 90 degrees, right? So the answer for number 2 is letter C. Okay, let's move to question number 3. Okay. So ano yung question number 3? So question number 3 says, which of the following is congruent angle? So congruent means they have the same measure of angle. So only vertical angle would have the same measure, right? Because adjacent angles could be complementary and supplementary. Complementary angles would vary their sizes of angle, but the limit is 90 degrees only. And then linear pair is also adjacent and supplementary. So they we're not sure if they would have a congruent angle inside the linear pair. And then for number 4, so number 4, angles MAY. So angles MAY and angle JAY are adjacent, which is side common to two angles. So if you can look at the letters, uh, the repeating letters would be AY segment AY, right? So if we try to draw this, this might look like this. So this is your AY, this is your M, and this is your J. So first is MAY, and then the second uh, angle is angle JAY. So common to both angles would be the middle term. Let's use a different color. So yung AY, yun yung common sa both angles, and that's letter A sa choices. So and then let's move to number 5. So in a linear pair, if one is 50 degrees, what is the measure of the other angle? So if they are linear pair, then the sum would be 180 degrees, right? So 50 degrees plus x equals 180. So x would be 180 minus 50. So the answer should be 130 degrees. And that is letter A in question number 5. Okay, let's go to question number 6. So what is the complement of the angle whose measure is 60 degrees? So in a complement, so 60 plus x is 90. So complement angles would have a sum of 90 degrees, right? So if if we add them, oh, sorry. So x would be 90 minus 60. So x would be 30 degrees, right? Okay. So let's go to the next. What's the next question? And then in number 7, so question number 7 says, in the figure below, the set of complementary angle is, okay, so let's try to redraw this. So you have 90 degrees here. Okay, and this is B degrees or B. And then there is another line here. This is C and this is A. And then this is E and this is D. Okay, so let's answer number 7. In the figure below, the set of complementary angle is, so again, complementary angle means they will, when we add them together, the equal or the sum should be 90 degrees. So we can see that it's let from the choices, it's not A and B because this would be more than 90 degrees. A and C would give us a complementary angle, right? So letter B is the answer. Angle A and angle C are complementary angles. B and D are not. C and D, well, angle C and D, they are not two, right? But they are vertical angle. Okay, so let's move to question number 8. So for numbers 8 to 15, refer to the figure above. So did I? Okay, not that one. So this is the figure. This is the same figure that I draw here for 8 to 15. So for question 8, name other set of complementary angles. So another one is E and D, right? So angle E and angle D. Angle E and angle D. So letter D for number 8, right? And then let's move to the next question. Number 9. So let me see if I can blow up question number 9. So this is question 9. Let's put it down. So question number 9 is, um, what is the sum of the measure of angles A, B, and C? So if you look at A, B, and C, so this is 180, right? So number 9, angle A plus angle B plus angle C. So it's actually half of the quadrant. So this is quadrant 1 and 4, I mean. So this is total of 180 degrees. So this is letter D, right? So let's go to number 10. So which set of angles are congruent? So congruent means they have the same measure of angles. So we can say D and C, right? And A and B is not. B and D is not. Only C and D, right? So letter D. C and D. So actually, the choices have the same C and D. For letter A, angle C and D. And then letter D is also angle C and D. So either these two will have the same. They will be they are congruent. So number 11. So question number 11 says, angle B and D are what pair of angle? So what is B and D? So let's go back to B. Angle B and D are, what's this? Angle B is this, and D, we can call them adjacent, right? So B and D are adjacent angles. So for question number 11, angle B and ND are adjacent angles because they have the common side and vertex. So number 12. So what is the measure of angle B? So angle B is actually uh, is a vertic is the same as 90 degrees above, right? So this is B is a vertical angle, so this is 90 degrees. And then for number 13, if angle C is 20 degrees, so let's again look at, then what is the measure of angle A? So since C and A, based on the drawing, are complementary, so if C is 20 degrees, then angle A should be 70 degrees, right? So for number 13, the answer is letter D, 70 degrees. And then for number 14, again, the question is, if C is 20 degrees and C and D are congruent angles, then what is the measure of angle? Okay, it was cut actually. I don't know the last part, but let's see. Maybe the question is, so the C is 20 degrees and then it says C and D are congruent angles. Yes, because they're vertical. Then what measure is angle? Probably angle E is the question. So if C and D are equal, so and they're 90 degrees, angle E should be 70 degrees. So if the question is about angle E, if angle E is the question, Then the answer is letter B, 70 degrees, right? And then yung last is number 15. The question is if C and D are congruent angles, so name another set of congruent angles. So let's go back dun sa drawing. If C and D are congruent angles, name another pair which is also congruent. So if you look at the drawing, it's E and angle A and E, right? Angle A and E. It's angle A and E, another congruent angle. Okay. So okay, we're done with question from Arwin. So we help him solve I'm not sure if this is a homework or a project. And so let's go to uh this question. So right, hope you can see this in your screen. Okay, so for each of the following be represented by A and B. Obtain two equations for each case and then find the angle. So this is a word problem for supplementary and complementary angle. So let's try to answer yung letter A. Okay, ang sabi dito, the angles are adjacent forming an angle of 88 degrees. One is 36 more than the other. So the sum is 88 degrees, right? And ito yung given. And then one angle, so this is the first angle. And then the second angle, it says, is 36 more than the other. So x plus 36 yung second angle, right? So when we try to add them, sabi niya, ang total daw is 88 degrees. So x plus 36 equals 88. So let's try to solve for x. So okay, so let's say this is first angle is A and this is B. So this would be 2x plus 36 equals 88. And then let's move 36 to the right side or transpose it. So 2x equals 88 minus 36. So this would be 2 and 52. So 2x would be 52 divided by 2. So 52 divided by 2 is 26 degrees, right? So angle A, so A would be 26 degrees and the other is x plus 30. So, and B is 26 plus 36. So 66 degrees for angle B. So if you try to add them up, dapat lalabas daw is 88. Right? Tama ba? 88? 26 plus 36. Sorry. This is 62. This is 62. So when you try to add A and B, it will give us 88 degrees, right? So, okay, let's go to letter B. So let's try to go up. So second question is the angles are complementary. One is twice as large as the other. So if A is, let's say, letter B, if A is x, therefore B is 2x, right? Because it says twice as large. And complementary angles, the sum would be equal to 90 degrees. So x, let's try to erase some of this. So x plus 2x equals 90 degrees. So this is 3x equals 90 degrees. It's divided by 3. So x would be 30 degrees. So angle A is 30 and the other angle, which is complementary to it, would be 60 degrees. Okay? And let's solve letter C. So let's try to erase some of this here. Okay, for letter C, ito yung question. So the angles are supplementary. One is 60 degrees less than twice the other. So so again, yung A is yung X, yung first angle natin. Yung B would be 1 is 60 less than twice the other. So 2x minus 60 yung other angle, right? Because it says here 1 is 60 degrees less than twice the other. So twice the other means 2x. Tapos pag sinabing 60 degrees less, so that's equivalent to minus 60. So again, pag supplementary yung angle, pag inad natin sila together, dapat ang sagot is 180 degrees. So let's take the sum. So x to x minus 60 is 180 degrees. So let's try to combine like terms. So 3x minus 60 is 180 degrees. Tapos let's transpose yung 60 sa kabilang side. So 3x. So pag nililipat natin yung negative numbers, nagiging positive, right? Yung yung English nung lipat is called transpose. So 180 plus 60, right? Naging positive. Kung positive naman siya, pag tinranspose natin sa kabilang side na equation, nagiging negative naman siya. So let's erase some of this. So 3x is equal to 0 for 240, right? So divide natin by 3. X would be equal to 80 degrees, right? So yung first angle natin is 80 degrees. So ano yung second angle is 2x minus 80. So 2x minus 60 pala, sorry. So 2 times 80 is 160 minus 60 is 100 degrees. So pag chinek natin, pag inad natin sila together, oops, sabi they are supplementary. So adding them together would be equal to 80 plus 100 degrees should be 180 degrees, right? So supplementary. Okay, so last, I think may isa pang question. Letter D. So let's erase this part here. So kung may questions kayo, you can write your questions sa comment section or you can send in through our Facebook chat, Instagram, and Twitter. Okay. So letter D, the question is, the angles are supplementary. Okay, so meaning supplementary, if we add them together, that's equal to 180 degrees. And the difference of the angle is 24 degrees. So let's try to add. So A would be the first angle. Yung representation natin. B is the second angle. So when we add them together, A plus B is 180 degrees because supplementary. And then yung second sentence, so the difference of the angle is 24 degrees. So pag minus daw natin siya, ang lalabas ay 24 degrees, right? So we have two equations here and two unknowns. So we can solve the problem. So if this is equation 1 and this is equation 2, If you add equation 1 and equation 2, erase this first. Add equation 1 and 2. So adding 1 and 2, right? So a plus a is 2a. So b minus b is 0. So, and then 180 plus 24 is 4, 10, 204 degrees, right? So, and then solving for a. So this would be 102 degrees, right? So angle A is 102 degrees. So let's solve for angle B. So angle B is it says yung sa equation 2, gamitin natin yung equation 2, A minus B is 24 degrees. So substitute natin yung value ng A dito sa equation. So 102 degrees minus B is equal to 24 degrees. So ang lumalabas, negative B. Lipat natin yung 102 degrees dun sa kanan. So right side of the equation. So positive siya, magiging negative. Tama. So ang lalabas is negative B equals negative 78. So since meron pa siyang negative, we need to divide this by 1. Negative 1, I mean. So B is 78 degrees, right? So our angle A is 102 degrees, angle B is 78 degrees. So since they are supplementary, pag pinag-add natin yung angle A plus B, dapat 180 siya degrees, right? So 102 degrees plus 78 degrees is actually equal to 180 degrees, right? So this is the way or a method or process we can use for checking kung tama yung na-solve nating angle A and B. All right? So, I think we're done with part 1. So, if you have questions about complementary angles and supplementary angles, word problems, or proof, you can send in your questions sa comment section or through our Facebook chat at Math Agility and Instagram and also in Twitter. Okay? And so let's move to the second part. Yung second part ng ating episode today is about logic and propositional calculus in discrete mathematics. Okay? So let's try to do some definition. So yung unang part natin would be the basic of logical operations. So if you have your pen and paper, you can also copy this, or kung hindi nyo mapanood to, you can also watch it later if you have classes this morning in the Philippines, or if you're done classes here in the US, you can also watch this. Okay, so for first part of our Roman numeral number 1 is the basic of logical operations. So yung una natin would be the conjunction. Number 1 is conjunction. So ang symbol ng conjunction ay parang inverted na triangle. Pero walang side sa baba, right? So ginagamit natin to P conjunction Q, right? Ganyan yung pagbasa niya. So P conjunction Q. And based sa definition, ang conjunction is if P definition if P and Q. So and Q are true, then P conjunction Q is true, right? Otherwise P conjunction Q is false, right? So yan yung una nating logical operation. It's called conjunction. And yung symbol niya is parang inverted triangle without the side at the bottom part. So number two, the next one is called disjunction. So disjunction, ang symbol naman ng disjunction ay pataas na triangle. So it says, kunyari, P disjunction of Q. So ang definition nito ay, let's write it here, yung definition niya ay, if P and Q are false, then P conjunction Q is false, right? Otherwise, P and P disjunction Q is true. Okay. So we have already two basic logical operation, and the next one is called negation. So the third one is negation. And the symbol is like a key. Like this. Parang L na nakahiga. And then P. So this means this is negation of P. Or not P. So not P or negation of P. So ano yung definition ng negation? So let's try the formal definition. So if P is true, then not P is false, right? And if P is false, negation, not P is true, right? Kabaliktaran lang niya. Kung false daw siya, pag kinuha natin yung negation, magiging true siya. Kapag true naman siya, kinuha natin yung negation ng true, it will be false, right? So, magkabaliktad lang. And then, what's next? So, na-define natin yung basic. Actually, may ibang tawag sa conjunction and disjunction. So, sa logic or sa set theory, yung P, so let me write it here. So, yung symbol niya, right? This is conjunction. Tawag sa discrete math. Tinatawag din siyang and. Tinatawag din siyang and or intersection, right? Sa set theory. Intersection, right? And then yung P disjunction Q, tinatawag din siyang or sa set theory or union, right? And then yung negation of P or yung not P or negation, not din, right? Not or negative. All right. So um okay, so yan yung basic so this, yan yung basic natin ng logical operation. Let's try to derive yung truth table nung ating yung basic three logical operations. So yung una is yung conjunction. So truth table conjunction. Okay, so kung meron tayong P, so let's write then yung Q. So lahat would be true and true and false and false, right? So yung Q naman natin would be salit-salit siya ng true, false, true, false. So since conjunction is this symbol, right? So P conjunction of Q. So pagka yung P has an equivalent truth value of true and yung Q naman natin has a truth value of true din. So pag kinuha natin yung kanyang conjunction, true din, right? So pwede nating sabihin na yung and is like itong conjunction is like we're multiplying, right? At yung value ng t natin is 1 at yung false is 0. So of course, kapag nagmo-multiply tayo with a 0, it means it's a 0 pa rin yung sagot, di ba? So kung yung false would be 0, so at minultiply natin siya to any number, kahit 1 or any higher than 1, so false pa rin siya. So the rest of the truth table would give us false. If we go back dun sa definition kanina ng conjunction, ano sabi natin sa definition? Sabi niya, if P and Q are true, then P conjunction Q is true. Otherwise, P conjunction of Q is false. So, uh, ibig sabihin, nagtutrue lang siya kapag both P and Q are true, right? Okay, so we have derived the truth table of conjunction. Now, derive naman natin yung truth table ng disjunction. So, for number truth table of disjunction. So, let's again write yung value ng P and then yung Q. So, same thing. So, true, true, false, false. And then sa Q is salit naman siya ng true, false, true, false. So, P conjunction ng Q. So, this case naman, sabi natin kanina, di ba, parang OR siya. Set theory. So, pag OR, ay hinahalin tulad natin siya sa addition. So, kung ang T natin ay 1 at yung false ay 0, right? Anything we add to 1 would be equal to 1. So, dito hindi 1 plus 1, 0. So, pag true and true is true, uh, disjunction true or true is still true, right? And then true and false, of course, 1 plus 0 is still true, right? And then false and true is still true. And then, of course, kapag dalawang false, like 0 plus 0, it's still false, right? So, makita natin, true siya kapag may isang true, and then false kung either of both are false. Yung P and Q are both false. So, kung merong isang true, true na agad siya. Kapag dalawang false, false na siya. So, yun din yung basis ng ating definition, right? So, let's go back. Ano yung definition natin sa disjunction? Sabi dito, if P and Q are false, then P disjunction of Q is false. Otherwise, P disjunction Q is true, right? So, yun lang yung ibig sabihin ng yung resulta ng ating truth table for disjunction. So, next, derive naman natin yung truth table ng negation. So, of course, meron tayong P and then negation of P. Right? So, if this is true or false, pag kinuha natin yung not P or negation of P, so magiging false lang to. Kapag false naman siya, magiging true siya. Right? So, iyan din yung sinabi natin sa definition actually ng negation. Let's go back. So, if P is true, then negation of P is false. And if P is false, the negation of P is true. Right? So, simple lang yung sa negation part. Right? Oops. So, what else? So, na-derive na natin yung truth table ng tatlong basic logical operation. So, let's go sa equivalency. So, hold on. So, let's move this down. So, equivalency or equivalent. Logical equivalence. Logical equivalence. So, if two propositions P, capital P, and Q are said to be logically equivalent or simply equivalent or equal, so this is denoted by capital P and then yung mga elements niya is tatlo. Equivalence is Q, PQ, and then yung set of elements niya pa rin. So, may isa tayong example. Pag kinuha daw natin yung negation ng parenthesis of P, conjunction of Q, this is actually equivalent to negation of P, but babaliktad yung conjunction, magiging disjunction of negation of Q. Okay, so actually may tawag dyan yung Morgan's Law, pero I'm not sure kung madidiscuss natin further yung Morgan's Law. Okay, so let's try to prove yung equivalence na to by using the truth table. Okay, so meron na naman tayong P and Q. So let's try to draw the truth table. So if I have P, so true, true, false, false. And then I have Q. So sa Q naman, solid siya, true, false, true, false. So ang sabi dun sa example natin kanina, if P and Q. So let's try to get yung kanyang conjunction. So conjunction of Q. So pag sinabi natin conjunction, parang we're multiplying it, right? So T and T would be still T, right? And the rest would be false kasi may isang false na, right? Doon lang siya magtutrue kapag parehang true. Now, let's take the negation of this. P conjunction of Q. So, babalik rin lang natin. Yung true magiging false. So, true to, false. So, magiging true naman lahat to. Right? Okay. So, ang sabi niya dun sa equivalence, equivalent siya sa negation ng P, disjunction ng negation ng Q. So, let's try to see kung ganun ang lalabas. So, let's create again the truth table, right? So kung meron akong P, so true, true, false, false, and then yung Q, true, false, true, false, and then yung negation ng P. So kukunin lang natin yung kabaliktaran ng truth value ng P. So this will be false, false, true, true. Tapos kunin natin yung negation ng Q. So again, this will be false, true, false, true. And then kunin natin yung kanyang disjunction kasi yun yung required, di ba? Pinoprove natin kung equivalent siya dun sa ano nga yung tawag dito sa negation of P conjunction Q. So P negation of P uh, conjunction ay not conjunction but disjunction of Q. So ang pag ang concentration natin dito, so union is like or, right? We're adding. So ibig sabihin kapag may isang true, true na siya, right? So makita natin yung una is false, right? Kasi parang zero yung false. So lahat ng nasa ibaba true na, right? Okay. So compare na ngayon natin yung ating kung parehas ba siya itong value nito, yung truth values nito sa taas kanina. So FTTT, FTTT rin siya. So na-prove natin na equivalent. Logical equivalence yung dalawang expression, yung logical expression na to. Alright. So ano yung next natin? Let's go to tautologies. So okay, let's try to move this up. Scroll it up. So up. So next is tautologies and contradiction. So ibig sabihin pag tautologies, lahat ng lalabas dun sa truth values ng variable ay true. So some propositions speak given PQ contains only true in the last column of their truth table or lahat siya true, all true for any truth values of their variable, for any truth values of their variables. So yung isa naman, yung contradiction, kabaliktaran naman siya nung tautology. So contradiction. So ang definition niya is if it contains only F in the last column of the truth table, or in other words, if it is false for any truth values, it is false for any truth values of its variable, right? So, false. Oops. For any truth values of the variables. Truth values of its variables. All right. Okay, what's next? So this is an example. So let's have an example of tautologies and contradiction. So by using a truth table, so if I have P, so I can have true and false. And then let's get the negation of P. So this will be false and true. And then let's take the disjunction of P and negation of P, right? So pag sinabi nating disjunction, para lang natin siyang ina-add. So kapag may true, true na agad. Kahit ano pa yung isang truth table ng isang variable. So tautology siya, right? Kasi yung last column is all true, right? Okay? So ayan yung example ng tautology. So what if kung yung contradiction? So if I have P and then this is true and false, right? So negation of P is false and true. So pag kinuha naman natin yung conjunction niya, so P conjunction of the negation of P or not P. So again, pag conjunction, we're just like multiplying. So kapag may isang F na dun sa value ng truth table mo is laging F na. Right? So this is, so since lahat nung nasa last column ay F or false, so it's contradiction. Alright. So ano yung susunod natin? Next is um, yung law of algebra of propositions dito sa logical. So let's move to number. Okay, so if you have any questions about this, you can write yung question nyo sa comment section or you can send in through our Facebook chat, Instagram, and Twitter at Math Agility. So let's move dun sa next topic natin. So may table tayo dito and it's called the laws of the algebra of proposition. So lakihin natin ng konti. So yung una is called idempotent laws. So pag ibig sabihin, yung value nung itself, kinuha mo yung disjunction niya, yung or. So ang equivalent niya ay yung solve niya pa rin, right? Ito yun. Oops. And then, pag kinuha naman natin yung conjunction niya, so ganun din, right? P and P, it's still yung self, yung value ng self niya. And then next is yung associative laws. So pag in 2A, so P disjunction of Q, disjunction of R is equivalent siya kapag ang inassociate naman natin yung P disjunction of the parenthesis Q disjunction of R, right? So ganun din sa conjunction, pag kinumbine naman natin yung P and Q or yung Q and R combining with conjunction with P, right? Ito. And then next is yung commutative laws. So commutative, pwedeng mauna yung unang variable and then yung equivalent niya, uunahin naman natin yung second variable. So P sa disjunction of Q is also equivalent to Q disjunction of P. Ganon din sa conjunction. P conjunction of Q is equivalent to Q conjunction of P, right? Next is yung distributive laws. So, i-distribute natin yung P sa disjunction ng Q and R. So, ito yan, yung first part. And then, yung P naman sa R, ito yung last part, right? Ito, nakita natin na maintain yung symbol na conjunction sa middle. And na-distribute natin yung P to both the variables Q and R. So, ganun din kapag kinuha natin yung conjunction ng P and yung parenthesis Q, disjunction of R here. So, distribute lang natin to. And then yung pangalawa is this one. And then we maintain itong symbol na to sa middle, which is yung disjunction. And then let's go to identity loss. So, Pag yung P, kinuha mo yung OR ng F or yung disjunction ng F, of course, kung ano yung value ng P would remain, right? Ganun din sa true. Kung kinuha mo yung disjunction ng P sa any true value would still give you yung true, right? And then dun sa 5B, pag kinuha naman natin yung conjunction, of course, since T is parang equivalent siya sa 1, so P pa rin, equivalent pa rin siya sa P, which is this. And then yung 6B, kapag minultiply natin siya or inan or kinonjunction sa P, syempre 0, di ba? So false yung lalabas. So next is yung involution. Involution is like double negation, right? So if you double negate yung P, then equivalent siya dun sa original na value niya, P. Right? And then yung complement loss. So P, disjunction of not P, right? So since you are adding 1 and 0, so kung yung P is 1 and then yung negation niya is 0 and then you add them, so true pa rin siya, right? And then negation ng T would be false. So kabaliktaran ng 2 is false. So punta naman tayo sa conjunction. So P conjunction of not P, right? So parang uh, ito, may question ako dito. Dapat yata to F, right? Sa 8B. Kasi kung yung P mo ay 1 and yung negation mo ay 0, pag kinuha mo yung conjunction niya, dapat false, I think. Let me know if I'm correct with this one. But that's how I see this for 8B. And then for 9B, of course, negation F is, yung kabaliktaran ng F is true, right? Okay, and last, ito pala yung sinabi kong De Morgan's Law. So pag dinidistribute natin yung negation or your not, yung conjunction nagiging disjunction. So look at disjunction, naging conjunction, and then na-distribute natin yung negation sa P and sa Q. Ganun din dito, kapag dinistribute natin yung negation sa dalawang variable na conjunction, magbabaliktad siya, magiging disjunction, and then na-distribute din natin yung negations to both variables. Right? Okay. So what's next? Okay, so last part would be yung conditional and biconditional statements. So conditional statements. So pag sinabi nating conditional P tapos may arrow na Q. So P implies Q. So meaning P implies Q or P only if Q. Yan yung ibig sabihin niya. So kung ibabase natin siya sa truth table, P is equivalent to P conditional Q has an equivalence to negation ng P and then disjunction ng Q. So ang implication nito ay yung value niya is false only when P is true and Q is false. So pag yung P ay true and yung Q is false, false na agad siya. Yan yung ibig sabihin niya. So next is yung biconditional. So yan yung conditional. So ito naman yung biconditional. So biconditional statement. So biconditional statements. So, ito naman is double arrow. Both sides papuntang ganyan. So, ibig sabihin yan is P if and only if Q. So, nagiging true siya kapag both P and Q true if both P and Q have same truth values. So, ibig sabihin, pag pareho siyang false, true siya. Kapag parehong true, true rin siya. So, pag have the same truth values. So, even pareho siyang false, true pa rin siya. So, of course, pag parehong true, true. Basta parehas yung value ng Q and P. Right? Okay, so, okay, let's prove using a truth table yung uh, yung kaninang minention natin. So, ito yung prove natin. Let's prove yung P conditional Q is equivalent to negation of P disjunction of Q, right? So, using a truth table. So, gawa tayo ng table. So, P would be true, true, false, false, right? And then yung Q natin, of course, would be solid. So, true, false, false. And then, sabi niya, sa definition, kapag false lang siya kapag yung P is true and yung Q is false. So, magpo-false lang siya sa second row, right? Dito lang. Kasi ito, P is true, Q is false, false siya. And the rest would be true na. Okay, so, yan yung definition nung yung ating, tawag dito, ng ating conditional statement. So, tignan natin kapag kinuha natin yung negation ng P and yung disjunction ng Q would have the same result as this table, right? So, meron na tayong P and Q. So, kunin na lang natin yung negation ng P. So, negation ng P would be kabaliktaran ng P. So, false, false, true, true. Tapos, anong sabi niya? Since meron na tayong value ng Q, so pwede na nating pagsamahin yung negation ng P and disjunction ng Q. So, pag sinabi natin disjunction, we're like taking or yung ina-add natin. So, false and true. So, true pa rin, di ba? And then false and false is false. And then true and true or true is still true, right? And then true or false is still true. So, parehas ba siya? Right. So, ito yung conditional statement. Ito yung truth table niya. And then, ito yung negation of P. Disjunction of Q is TFTT, which is similar to P biconditional Q. So, we have proven this equivalence using truth table. All right. So, let's do some exercises. So, let's see. So, yung first question sa ating exercise is find the truth table of negation of ito ba yung ginawa natin? So this is conjunction. So, conjunction of Q. So, madali lang siya, di ba? So, drawing lang natin yung P. Gawa tayo ng table ng P which is true, true, false, false. And then yung Q natin, which is true, false, true, false. Then kunin natin yung negation ng P, which is not P. So yung true would be false and yung false would be true. And then kunin na natin yung uh, conjunction ng P and Q. So sinabi natin pag conjunction, we're like multiplying, right? So F and T. So F na agad, right? F and F na rin. And then T would be true, right? T and F would be F. Because parang nag-multiply tayo ng 1 and 0. So mag uh, mag magto-true lang siya kapag parehas na true, right? So okay, so that is okay. Yan yung construction ng ating truth table. Okay, let's go to the next exercise. Okay, so the question is, let me try to move this. Sabi niya, verify the proposition P, disjunction of the negation of the conjunction of P and Q is a tautology. So pag tautology, sabi natin, lahat ng last column, dapat last column would be lahat true, all true. So let's again construct the truth table for this. So una yung P natin, oops. So yung P, again, so true, true, false, false, right? And then yung Q would be true, false, and then true, false. And then kunin muna natin yung conjunction ng P, conjunction ng Q. So this means they are parang, again, sinasabi natin and or we're multiplying it. So magkakaroon lang siya ng true kapag both true and the rest would be false, right? Kasi parang multiply. Now kunin natin yung negation nito. So negation means kunin natin yung kabaliktaran ng true. So false, the rest would be true, right? Tapos yung last part would be yung pinuprove natin na P disjunction of the negation of P conjunction ng Q. Let's move a little bit. So, i-combine lang natin yung nasa column 1. So, ibahin natin yung color natin. So, itong column 1 at itong column 4, right? So, parang nag-a-add tayo or kinukuha natin yung OR. So, kapag T and F, so true na siya, di ba? Basta may isang true, true na agad. So, ito true na rin, true na rin, true na rin, right? True, false, true, false, false, true, may isang true, false, true, may isang true. So, this is we have proven that this is a tautology. All right. Okay. Let's move dun sa next question. So, ito naman is show that the proposition, the negation of P, conjunction of Q, and negation of P, disjunction of the negation of Q are logically equivalent. So, let's just move it here. So, again, gagawa tayo ng truth table. So in symbol, parang ganito sinasabi ng question. So negation of ay, so negation of P conjunction of Q is equivalent. So tatlo, negation of P, disjunction of negation of Q, right? And yung ano niya. So kunin muna natin yung truth table nung left side nung equivalence equation sa P. Ganun uli. True, true, false, false. Q is true, false, and then true, false. And then yung kanyang conjunction. So, again, this is true. The rest would be false kasi parang nagmumultiply tayo ng 0 sa 1. So, false na lahat. And then, kunin natin yung negation niya. Oops. So, kabaliktaran lang nitong kabila. So, this would be false. This is true. This is true. And this is true. Right? So, let's see kung itong last column would be equivalent to the other one. So, ang gawin natin, kunin natin yung negation ng P and negation ng Q. So, let's move this. So, yung negation ng P muna. So, this would be false, false, true, true, right? And then yung negation ng Q. So, this would be false, true, false, true. And then kunin natin yung kanyang union or yung or yung disjunction ng dalawa. So, negation of P, disjunction of the negation of Q, right? So, ang lalabas dyan, dapat pag may isang, call this, pag may isang true na siya, right? So, ito, false. Of course, this would be true, true, and true. So, combine natin yung dalawang column if they have the same truth table. So, ito at saka ito are actually the same. So, we have proven this equivalence. Right? So, kung meron kayong question, just write in at the comment section or you can send in your questions to our Facebook chat, Instagram, and to our Twitter accounts. Okay, next. So, let's make this a little bit bigger yung question. So, sabi sa question, consider the conditional proposition B conditional on Q or P implies Q. The simple proposition Q implies P, negation of P implies negation of Q, and negation of Q implies negation of P are called respectively the converse, inverse, and contrapositive of the conditional P and Q, which if any of these propositions are logically equivalent to P and Q. So, hahanapin natin kung alin yung sa tatlong proposition na yon yung equivalent sa P conditional to Q. So, okay. So, una, gagawa ulit tayo ng truth table. So, okay. Ayoko magbigay ng hugot, pero alright. So, next time. So, P would be, again, true, true, false, false. So, yung Q natin would be salad siya ng true, false, and then true, false. So, kunin natin yung negation ng P, kabaliktaran ng value ng P natin. So, this would be false, false, true, and true. And then yung negation ng Q would be false, true, false, true. So una yung conditional P conditional Q, right? So pag P conditional Q, false lang siya kapag yung P ay true at yung Q ay false. So saan siya nangyari? Sa third column, right? P, hindi, P and Q, sorry. So P is true and Q is false. So yung second row lang siya false, right? We're comparing this. So second row and the rest would be true, right? So true, true, true. Okay, yan yung conditional. So yan yung hinahanapan natin ng equivalence, yung conditional P to Q. So next is gawin natin yung converse. So let's try to write Q conditional on P. Ito yung tinatawag na converse. So, saan lang siya magkakaroon ng false, right? Kapag true yung Q and false yung P, right? So, nasa third row lang siya mangyayari. So, yun yung ating false. So, the rest would be, again, true, right? Kasi pag yung Q natin is true, at kapag yung P is false, then false siya, which is nangyari lang dito sa third row, T and F, right? And then next is yung, ano ba yung next natin? Converse and then inverse. So inverse is, ang inverse natin is negation of P conditional to the negation of Q, right? So, ang gagawin naman natin, itong dalawang row ng negation of P conditional to negation of U. So, again, kapag yung negation of P is true at yung negation ng Q is false, doon lang siya nagiging false. So, again, doon sa third row lang tayo nag-false. So, true, true, true na yung rest. And then yung last is yung contrapositive. So, contrapositive. So, ang sabi sa contrapositive is kabaliktaran naman ng negation ng Q conditional to the negation of P. Binaliktad natin yung inverse. Kaya contrapositive. So, mangyayari, let's look at the negation table. So, dapat true and false, doon lang siya magpo-false. So, I think it's in the second row again. Doon lang siya magpo-false. Second row, the rest would be true. So, let's compare. Sino yung kamukha nung conditional P to Q? So, TFTT is actually equal to the contrapositive, right? So, itong conditional natin ay equal dun sa contrapositive. So, true, true, false, false, true, true, and then true, true. Right? Okay. And then we have yung last nating question for today. So, ito naman yung, I think yung, I thought this is the Morgan's law. Okay. Let's move it. So, sabi sa question, use the laws in table 4-1, yung kaninang table natin, yung algebraic, what do you call it? Algebraic law of algebra of propositions. So, to show that the negation of P, um, conjunction of Q, and then disjunction to negation of P conjunction Q is equivalent to negation of P. So let's try to write it. So yung statement natin, okay, let me change yung color ng ink. So negation of, oops, negation of P conjunction ng Q, and then disjunction ng negation of P, and then conjunction ng Q. So una, pwede nating gamitin yung De Morgan's Law, yung last. So nandun sa table. So actually, madidistribute natin yung I call this yung ating negation sa first parenthesis dito. Right? So pagka conjunction, magiging disjunction siya kapag dinistribute natin. So first is to magiging disjunction Q. Of course, yung kabila, ganun pa rin. Kopyahin lang natin siya. Disjunction ng negation of P. Conjunction ng Q. So, anong susunod nating pwedeng gawin? We can factor out yung negation ng P, right? Distributive law. Distributive law is yung 4A and yung 4B kasi this is a disjunction, right? Nung dalawang parenthesis. So, yung 4B, so pag pinactor out natin yung negation ng P, tama ba to? Oops, sorry. Naging anto. Nabaliktad yung symbol. Dapat ano siya, conjunction. So both conjunction yung nasa loob ng De Morgan's Law. Right? Kasi yung dito is yun. Parang baliktad siya. Use the law show that P kasi yung given is ito. Dapat ito ay disjunction nga. Tama tayo. Okay? So, disjunction ng P and then finactor out natin yung negation of P on both yung terms natin. So, ginamit natin yung 4B. So, lalabas negation of Q. Right? And Q and what else? Union of, tama ba? Union of Q, right? Because Q and Q, right? Kasi isang negation at isang hindi negation. And then next is, ano pwede natin ito? So yung Q union of Q or yung Q disjunction ng Q ay complement law, right? So disjunction ng P, negation ng P, conjunction ng true na to, di ba? Because of complement law. It's in uh, 8A dun sa table. And then, ano na to? Complement ng P and intersection ng and. So if it's true, so the value should be its identity law, right? Yung, of course, ay negation of P, right? Tama ba? Yes. So, negation of P. So, we have proven um, yung equivalence na to, right? So, correct. All right. So, do we still have another question? I think that's the last question for tonight. And if you have additional questions or any clarifications about the topic today, the first part we did was yung complementary and supplementary angles in geometry. And yung second part natin, which is this, about logic and propositional calculus in discrete mathematics. So if you have any questions, you can write it in the comment section or send in through our Facebook chat or Instagram and Twitter accounts. So there you go. Okay, thank you for watching us today at Math Agility Live. And to all our followers who sent in their questions last Monday up to Wednesday, that will be tomorrow here in the US, PST, or Tuesday to Thursday in Manila, we will be solving them via Facebook Live on Thursday or Friday in Manila. Okay, see you next week. God bless everyone and stay safe.